Yeah, comma-separated value files runs the whole world.
Yes. You think it's APIs, but it's mostly CSS.
It's not. It's all flat file text files.
Future Commerce is brought to you by GroupBuy. You can transform your customers' e-commerce experience with GroupBuy's new product discovery platform, which is powered by Google Cloud Retail AI. Stay tuned for more on how GroupBuy and Google are revolutionizing e-commerce search and recommendations later on in the show. This episode of Future Commerce is brought to you by Wix. That's right, Wix. The industry-leading content management platform is now also an industry-leading e-commerce platform with advanced online storefront features and over 700,000 active stores already selling worldwide. Find out if Wix is right for you by going to wix.com/e-commerce today. That's Wix, wix.com/e-commerce, or listen to the middle of the show to find out more about how they can transform your business. Hey, has anyone told you today that you look gorgeous? Well, if not, now they have. Future Commerce is brought to you by Gorgeous, which is the #1 e-commerce help desk for Shopify, Magento, and BigCommerce brands. With Gorgeous, you can automate up to 20% of your commonly asked questions and put it seamlessly into your existing tech stack. Go to gorgias.com/futurecommerce for 2 months free. That's gorgias.com/futurecommerce for 2 months free.
I'm Phillip.
I'm Brian.
And we are at Grocery Shop. And I'm not really quite sure how this episode is going to shape up, but we've got a quick one for you. We both just walked out of the main opening session at Grocery Shop 2021. And first reactions.
First reaction was, it's standing room only.
It's packed here.
This is crazy. Coming off Retail X, I'm like, what? Like, sacrificial lamb, what?
Yeah, completely negates everything we said in our last episode about, events probably through the end of the year are going to be really rough. So we were talking just before we started recording about why that might be. Like, 2,100 attendees here at Grocery Shop right now, right?
Yeah,
that's what they said on the board.
I mean, it felt like it. That's
I posted
for sure.
a picture to my Twitter, and we need to link that up in the show notes because it was the Sunday evening opening session.
Sunday evening.
Okay, which if you have ever done trade shows ever, vendors do not attend like main sessions generally, and they certainly don't attend the main session the night before the opening of the expo.
Right. Like they might attend like opening keynote the day of expo.
Right. They may.
Maybe.
Certainly not everybody.
Yeah, certainly not everybody.
Right. And this is standing room only in the expo, completely floored. So this show, also, stark contrast to other retail shows so far. They did not shorten this show.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
If anything, it feels like it's like 1 day longer than what Grocery Shop was in years past.
Yeah.
Grocery Shop's usually a 3-day event. Shop Talk's a 3-day, maybe 4-day event if you count like some of the learning sessions on either side. Expo opens tomorrow, but this show is packed.
I mean, give me some hypotheses about why you think this might be the case, because this is night and day.
We were just talking about this. I think a couple reasons. One, so if you hadn't heard our last episode, we titled it "Are Industry Events Ever Coming Back?"
They're back, baby.
That was the title of the episode. I can't even get over
this is amazing. I love this.
I really can't get over it. So yes, I guess, yes, industry events are coming back. Why was Retail X a ghost town and Grocery Shop is a boom town?
I mean, this is what I was just asking you. I'll give you my thoughts very quickly. One, I think grocery has a lot of tailwinds right now. I mean, grocery was one of the industries that probably fared the best, actually, during the pandemic. Grocery stores stayed open. People ordered their
Yeah.
groceries. They actually
Critical infrastructure, right?
a lot of investment in grocery and a lot of sales in grocery. In fact, people were buying a lot of things they probably didn't buy through grocery before, but they're buying them now because
Yeah, exactly. And we heard about some of that just now in this in the opening session.
right.
Some of the crazy numbers that came out of that opening session. I was kind of floored at the scale of Kroger and Albertsons in particular. One of the panel speakers whose name I'm busking right now because I can't remember his name. I think Rodney McMullen, is he CEO over at Kroger? I believe so.
I'm not sure if he's CEO, but
Rodney McMullen had said that 5 years ago their digital business was
CEO,
$0, and today it's $10 billion. $10 billion is their e-commerce business, is their digital business at Kroger. And their supply chain innovation too is like through the pandemic over the last 18 months, they had created a new program to get food to stores faster.
right.
And so most products that are sold in the store are fresh products.
Right.
Are arriving to the store within 24 hours of harvest, pick, or slaughter.
This is amazing because,
yeah.
if you think about it, grocery is actually one of the most complicated forms of retail that exists.
Yeah. And it's one we don't talk about enough.
Yeah.
Right. We talk a lot about retail. We talk a lot about
CPG,
and we talk a lot about e-commerce just generally, which has had a lot of focus of the scale of e-commerce has been in the direct-to-consumer movement over the last couple of years. But grocery is where it's at right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when you think about innovation and the amount of investment that's that has come into what has traditionally been a very stodgy business model, right?
Like this is finally the year. I mean, we've been to many grocery shops now, and all of the technology's sort of been there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, dare I go back and say this yet again? But like the pandemic was in many ways the great accelerant for grocery and allowed them.
They said that in this session too.
Yeah, to finally make those investments that they wanted to make. The grocery shop has been talking about for years, actually. Yeah. And finally, like the impetus was there, the reason was there, everything sort of aligned for grocery. Mm. And now, I mean, I actually don't see grocery turning back. I mean, there will be and has been some return to original behavior, like pre-pandemic behavior, but there's also a lot that has changed. And I think that consumers are actually looking for more out of grocery. Mm. I feel like, and I think that grocery's got a roadmap coming up here that's going to like surprise consumers, that it's going to get even better. We're going to see a lot more investment in things that are more convenient, that are more like Amazon Go and Amazon.
Well, that's a really great segue. Well, they had showed in the opening remarks a video of Anil Agarwal from last year, who's the former president, I believe, of Grocery Shop and Shop Talk.
Yeah, correct.
Founder.
He sold it off.
And then I think they launched the digital product and then divested sold off both the other physical property. Anyway, he no longer at the head of Grocery Shop, but they featured his remarks of saying like, it's never been harder than it is right now. This is like 2019. It was the last physical grocery shop. It was like, It's never been harder than it is right now. Basically like customers' expectations are higher. Their demands are higher, but personnel and the workforce is like exhausted and they're tired. And it's like that was before the pandemic. So like setting the stage is like innovation kind of needed to happen everywhere. And one of the things that I thought was a really interesting take, which I can't remember the name of, one of the remarks was there's a vertical farming startup that's based in New York that was mentioned as an aside, and I want to say Greens was in the name. I can't remember the name, But they were talking about this sort of the efficiencies of, having to meet the demand in the pandemic of produce and folks shopping from grocery where they otherwise would have gone out to eat. Restaurants.
Right.
That was another remark. We think we have it hard in grocery. I definitely wouldn't want to be in restaurant right now.
Right.
But so they had to go out to all these new suppliers during the pandemic to try to meet demand.
Right.
And you think about at the same time, all these meal kit startups and all these meal delivery, at home delivery, they're all trying to go to the same suppliers too. So it's providing this growing pie for all of this innovation even in supply chain. It's not supply chain innovation in the logistics side of supply chain. It's supply chain innovation, literally the growing of things.
Right.
And they were saying that there's where it would typically take 4 to 6 gallons of water to grow a head of lettuce in a traditional planted in a field. Now in these vertical farming startups, it takes 1 to 2 gallons of water. So I like that there's a lot of focus there of innovation isn't just in the technology part of it. It's also in who the suppliers are,
right,
and getting those into the store. Speaking of which, that kind of takes us to private label,
right?
Because that was addressed in this opening session as well. There was this whole conversation. Chris Rupp of Albertsons mentioned it, and she's ex-Amazon. She spent a decade at Amazon. Now she's chief digital officer, I believe, at Albertsons.
Yeah,
and she had said, their approach to loyalty now, it's called For You, which immediately makes me think of the For You page on TikTok. But it's personalization. And so there was 2 things that she said in that blew my mind. The first was that personalization, as far as Albertsons is concerned, is getting the right offer to the right customer based on their preferences and their shopping behaviors. And what she said was, because coupons are basically advertising.
Right.
Not a discount.
Correct.
It's advertising. And this is seeing that as a platform, which I'm sure every grocer would know, and everyone's probably rolling their eyes at me that I'm having this revelation, but it is advertising. And what are all of the innovations in advertising based on in the last 10 years? It's the personalization and that freaky personal, absolute For You page style algorithmic driving of what is, unique to Brian Lang or Phillip Jackson. And that's the kind of advertising innovation that, and only an Amazon exec coming into Albertsons would think of as let's put this into our loyalty. But the other part of that was the loyalty is how they're giving you, so through the For You app rewards program, it's how they're giving you free delivery and they're also giving 5% off all their private labels. And it's this unfair advantage. They control the demand by controlling an advertising platform. They're controlling themselves, front running it by giving themselves a 5% discount on their own products over manufacturers who are, I'm guessing, paying to also be part of the advertising program in the For You. And they're also unfairly competing in this incredible way by having, delivery innovation and driving folks into that loyalty program, effectively an advertising program, by offering free delivery.
Right. It's insane. Yeah. Kroger's been doing the same thing for years. And honestly, if there's anyone out there that has probably the best set of data on my household, it's Kroger and Costco. Those are the two. Because first of all, I've been in the Kroger loyalty program for years, and they have literally years of data on me.
Is it years worth of data?
Years. It's
eons worth of data.
Eons. Mountains of data, lakes of data on me. But they've been personalizing coupons for me for several years now. And
where do you get those coupons?
They mail them to me. They mail them to you?
They mail them to
me.
They personalize them in the mail?
Based off my purchasing history. So
do you get point of purchase coupons too?
Yes,
Does Kroger
I get those
do
as well.
the
There's
giant
also
receipt?
Personalized as well, not on the receipt, but they print them out on a separate
It's a
printer.
separate thing?
Yes, separate printer. get those as well. And we talked about what apps we've downloaded recently.
Oh, we did that in the last one.
We did.
Yeah. You just downloaded the Kroger app.
No, Kroger app. I had just downloaded Kroger app. Like that was one of the few that I actually had recently downloaded simply for the digital coupons, because I've noticed that a lot of their coupons opportunities are moving to digital in store, and I'm missing out on, like, I mean, obviously I've got a large household. Everyone that's listened for a while knows that, but like,
it's not just children, it's dogs and cats. And
like I've got a lot to buy. That's just my grocery budget is big.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like it's like this type of loyalty program it's next level. No other retailer is doing this for me. Like no other retailer, not even Costco. We can get to that in a minute, but like not even Costco is personalizing for me at the level that Kroger is.
It's true. Well, it's funny because I was talking about Albertsons, and then you brought it back to Kroger. These are behemoths, right? Like they're as big as it gets. Kroger, to your point, in this session said that they cover 60% of the country.
Right.
You know, 60% of American households are served by Kroger, and you know, they say that their mission was what was the mission statement was so good. I think it's in a tweet thread that I just posted. Is basically like to feed the spirit. Like it's you know, right. to it's not just feeding the body, it's like feeding the spirit. And so they have all these, you know, zero waste programs. There's, you know, all these innovations and all these programs that they want, but you know, they're serving 2 out of every 3 Americans. And when asked about what the plan is for the other third, they mentioned like basically outpost, like delivery and locker.
Yep.
And that is there a future where you can have effectively grocery pop-up, right? Where the Kroger brand could penetrate into a market that, say, a Publix. Like Kroger is not in South Florida, right?
Right.
The Southeast
blows my mind, actually.
It's funny because they own Vitacost, and the old Vitacost campus in Boca Raton is now Kroger's Center of Innovation, but they have no physical stores in South Florida.
Did you double check that?
I'm pretty sure.
They own a lot of different like sub-brands.
I'm pretty
like,
sure.
Kroger for me, it means something completely. Yeah, QFC, Fred Meyer and such. But in California, it's like Ralph's, right? And like they're everywhere, and you don't even know it, or at least a lot of consumers don't know it.
I'm checking as we speak right now. Yeah, there's no such thing. They do have. Wow. I do see a press release from June and then again from July. Is that Kroger is looking to extend. This is exactly what we were just talking about. Kroger's looking to extend operations into heavily populated areas like South Florida, and it will have a hub in those facilities for delivery and locker only.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Like it's genius. Like building out supply centers first and then bringing physical stores
Well,
after.
I mean, physical stores would need supply and distribution anyway.
Right.
But the idea is that the store is not really, this is the transcendence of my understanding of what retail is. Or actually not even retail, grocery in particular.
Yeah.
Is that the brand doesn't necessarily encompass, like your feelings of the brand aren't necessarily locked up in the physical bricks and mortar. Unlike a Target, which is kind of experiential, right, of retail, the Target experience isn't had by having their shipped bring Target to you.
Right.
As much as the experience that I have with doing Whole Foods delivery is very Whole Foods.
Right,
like,
right. Yes,
it feels like Whole Foods to me. And I find that if Kroger, what is the power of a brand that serves 2/3 of Americans and feeds them on a weekly basis to be able to launch into a new market with no physical retail footprint? And that is bonkers to me. And that actually kind of brings us to this insane proposition of how Albertsons has retreated from web.
I was just thinking about the exact same thing. Like this, we've got this great contrast because it went from Kroger to Albertsons. But like, here's Kroger, like we're absolutely destroying it in digital. Yeah. And then like the very next session, like Albertsons doing incredible things, saying, oh, we're not a technology company, we're a food company. And we actually...
That's what Chris Rupshed said.
That's what she actually said that.
Verbatim.
Verbatim.
Right.
Verbatim, yeah. Or I shouldn't say verbatim, but near verbatim.
Yeah. As according to Brian Lang.
Yes.
That's what she said.
And what blew my mind, and maybe this is old news, but like they cut off their marketplace, which
famously
like a big Magento Miracle implementation.
Yeah, Miracle, the marketplace services SaaS offering.
And Magento, the commerce platform, now called Adobe Commerce.
Yeah.
Future Commerce is brought to you by GroupBuy. Did you know that GroupBuy is a product discovery platform that is powered by Google Cloud Retail AI? And Google and GroupBuy are bringing the future of e-commerce to you by setting the standard for product discovery in the market. This Google Cloud Retail AI includes search and recommendations, personalization, merchandising, analytics, and data enrichment, and it helps you to leverage your online and in-store data through GroupBuy to increase conversions and to reach your revenue goals. GroupBuy powers some of the world's most highly converting retail and wholesale websites, such as Crate & Barrel, CVS Pharmacy, BJ's Wholesale, and Signet Jewelers. And on average, GroupBuy's customers see a 40% increase in conversion rate. So I want you to start empowering your customers today and scale your business today with GroupBuy. You can get 2 months of implementation for free by going to groupbuyinc.com/future-commerce today. That's GROUPBYINC.com/future-commerce. Yep, that's a mouthful. It is groupbuyinc.com/future-commerce and get 2 months of implementation for free. Thanks to GroupBuy for sponsoring this episode of Future Commerce. I'm a big fan of using the right tool for the right job. And I'm an even bigger fan of piloting and proving out a capability for your business before you go and throw a ton of money at it. And that's why I am a fan of our newest sponsor at Future Commerce, Wix eCommerce. Wix, the industry-leading content management platform, is now also a growing global e-commerce platform with advanced online storefront features. Solo creators, merch stores, limited releases, micro e-com sites, and oh so much more can be launched in under a day on Wix. Wix eCommerce lets you take control of your customer base and build repeat sales channels with integrated CRM and loyalty tools. You know, Wix might be the right tool for the right job for an entrepreneur, an omnichannel retailer, a brand to get up and run and launch and scale their online stores successfully. Why don't you give it a try? What have you got to lose? Go to wix.com/e-commerce today and join over 700,000 active stores already selling worldwide with Wix eCommerce. That's Wix, Wix.com/e-commerce. This podcast is brought to you by Gorgeous, the e-commerce help desk that turns customer service into a profit center. I don't know if you've ever had an e-commerce experience like I just had, where my order shipped late, it took forever to arrive, and when it did, there were things missing, and the things that were in the box wasn't what I ordered. Nothing went right. So I reached out to the company to make it right, and every time I talked to them, I felt like I had to start over and have the same conversation again and again and again. I wish that they had been running Gorgeous. Gorgeous is the e-commerce help desk that helps turn customer service into one seamless conversation with your customer in every channel. It's powered by machine learning and automation, and it turns visitors into shoppers. It can unlock sales through live text, chat, social media, and increase your ad effectiveness by as much as the equivalent of 5% increase in ad spend. I would have had so much better of an experience in making what went wrong go right if the brand had been using Gorgeous. They combine all those communication channels like SMS and Instagram DMs, live chat, phone, and everything else all into one organized place, and then they integrate into your e-commerce store. If you're on Magento, BigCommerce, or Shopify, you're going to be able to quickly see customer data and order history and take action right from within your help desk. 7,000 customers, including Steve Madden, Princess Polly, Machine Layer, they all use Gorgias, and I want to give you 2 months free. Get it today by going to gorgias.com/futurecommerce. That's GORGIAS.com/futurecommerce and get 2 months free and make your customer service a little bit better with Gorgias.
Let's role play out a little bit because, we're both,
Oh my
we
gosh.
both come from the
A
Magento
role play.
ecosystem. But or maybe not even role play.
Oh, I mean, that would be kind of fun. Like,
We could role play it,
mean,
but I would like to hypothesize a little bit. What Chris Rupp said was, and they addressed it like it was an elephant in the room. Like it was one of the last questions.
awkward. Yeah, it was really awkward. It was like, oh yeah, we like it almost felt like the person who was asking the question, it felt like they didn't know that the marketplace had been shut off.
No, it felt like, I don't know, maybe. It felt like a leading question, if you ask me.
I don't know.
John Springer from Winsight, who's the executive editor for Grocery, I have to assume that he would know.
Maybe he did know, but it was like, it was awkward. It's like
it seemed like they needed to address it.
Yeah.
I have done this before.
Yeah.
Okay, I have been,
You've got a panel.
I've done panels, especially at big, media shows like this. I know how prepped these, executive interviews are.
Right.
I know how scrutinized the line of questions are. And especially when you're a show like this, you definitely don't want to throw curveball questions at an executive who is in your opening remarks, right?
Right.
You need them at this show and you don't want to lose them in the future. So this was like, I'm thinking this was labored over and they saved it until the end. And then they came back with like a little pivot question at the end, which is like, what are the headlines you're going to make in the future? And she said something that's completely forgettable.
No, but I do, maybe you're right. Because actually now that I think about it, like here's what
multiple comms teams went back and forth on this line of questioning. I'm telling you, I've been in those rooms.
Yeah.
Multiple people thought intensely, why does this question need to be in this session? And why does this, and how are we going to answer that question?
The lead
Why
here
did you shut
was-
off your marketplace?
The lead here was, we're not a technology company. That was where they were going with that.
I need to rewatch. I don't know if there's a way to rewatch the session. I need to see.
I think there are.
I need to see it again.
Yeah. The
because
play-by-play.
I really need to
need a slow-mo
because I
replay.
didn't know what was happening, and like I'm sure if you're listening to this right now, you don't understand the gravity of what it is. The Magento and Miracle partnership in the Albertsons marketplace was probably one of the largest case studies and like largest touted use case for giant retail that probably single-handedly helped close the Adobe acquisition. It was like the logo. Honestly, it was at a scale and visibility that it was very hard to ignore, and it won awards multiple years in a row.
Yeah, there were a few big implementations. That was one of the big ones.
I'm trying to bring some gravity to this.
Yeah, no,
it's a big deal.
It needs to. Like it was a big deal for sure.
And I think it's an even bigger deal that they shut it down, and the triply as big of a deal that they then had to address the shutting down of their web marketplace in this session. Now, wait.
So how long ago was it? Like, actually, I really wish I knew when exactly this happened. Was it during the pandemic? You shut down your digital marketplace during the pandemic? I mean, no, I really want to get to something we were talking about earlier before we started podcasting. This is where I'm leading you right now, which is like, why would you shut down your digital marketplace?
January 7th, 2021 was when they made
during the pandemic.
They shifted to third-party online grocery delivery in markets, and they ceased its own online grocery delivery operation, and they are moving exclusively to third-party delivery partners, meaning for Albertsons shipped. Who else? Instacart, right?
Yep. Probably mostly. And then DoorDash.
DoorDash. Like, these are the ones who were doing...
That was their big announcement, Double Dash.
Double Dash?
Did you not hear that?
No, what was that?
It was like they're doing a new partnership with DoorDash where you can do two stops. That's the Double Dash. That's the Double Dash. Like that was one of the big announcements.
Pretty soon, if you extrapolate these delivery services and Uber and anything else that powers these last mile delivery services and just-in-time workforce, if you extrapolate it to its logical end, you're just going to have a portion of your income that's like basically a full-time butler that you're paying for.
Oh, man, I've been saying this for
I know
years.
you have. I know you have.
You might as well just have a butler.
You
Quit
might as well
paying
just have a
delivery
butler.
fees. Quit, just hire a personal butler and call it a day.
Chase Sapphire Rewards will subsidize part of it for you.
Oh my gosh, that's genius.
The butler reward.
I love this, actually.
I know you do.
I love it.
Because you've been talking about butlers for years.
I have.
I feel like it's just further entrenching us in a servant class and a proletariat class, but whatever.
I mean, that's already happening, but it's
already here.
But it's all fractionalized, and it's all like really like disconnected. And
but right
people
now
can
it's
treat each other like trash. When you have a butler, you have to treat that person well because they're your butler.
And you know what too? You have to pay payroll taxes for that butler, as opposed to the 1099 relationship that's disintermediated by
that's true. But like
multi-sided marketplace technology that's funded by Silicon Valley. And venture capital on Sand Hill Road. Long story short, coming back to, which ultimately, by the way, is all of our pensions. That's how it's all paid for, is boomers. Thank you, boomers.
Isn't boomers, though? Oh,
well, millennials don't have pensions.
That's true.
Who has a pension? Do you know a millennial that has a pension?
Like one.
Like maybe a teacher?
No.
If they'll stay teachers, that's the other problem, is all these like pension funds in these states that are, typically go to first responders and educators. It's like, who wants to be a first responder or an educator nowadays? It's crazy.
It's so tough. No, the only person that I know that has a pension is in sanitary, and they've got a great pension.
Okay, I mean I suppose that's a whole other. I'm sure there are other industries that have pensions. I can't think of them right now.
Yeah, I can't think of them right now either.
What's venture capital going to do without the liquidity of pensions? It's like, is it all just going to come from like JPEG billionaires now?
Yeah, there's a huge shift in wealth, but we can talk about that in a later episode.
That's another episode.
Back to
this
was a huge parenthetical statement here.
Yes, it was, and I loved it actually.
Yes, it was super fun. I want to go down that rabbit hole again.
The point really is that their abandonment of their web marketplace. Chris Rupp said, and I believe she said this, I'm going to quote her, and again, we'll go back and rewatch the tape. I'm pretty sure she said, it's just not who we are.
Yeah.
That's what I believe she said, is like Albertsons marketplace, web marketplace in particular, it's just not who we are. Third-party delivery apps can do it better, and that's where they've put their bet. You contrast that against the Kroger of the world, who is doing web marketplace, and they're doing it both, right? You have to wonder what happened that they retreated from a web marketplace.
Yeah, another parenthetical statement. I swear we're just getting closer and closer to football here. Like you just said, we need to watch the tape.
Yeah,
it's true. The playbook has changed. Yeah, we're just going to be, all of a sudden, very, very soon, it's just going to be X's and O's on a whiteboard.
That's really what it is. Yeah, and they really are. They are their playbooks and their strategies.
But back to what you just said. Yeah. So you do have to wonder what just happened. Because as you told me just before we got on this podcast, and I keep trying to get you to say this again.
You say it for me because I apparently can't be set up.
The internet is literally just run. All enterprise software is just run on CSVs.
That's right.
Like most of the business is run on CSV files.
Yeah, comma-separated value files runs the whole world.
Yes. You think it's APIs, but it's mostly CSVs.
It's not. It's all flat file text files. ACH, like famously, there was a huge Twitter thread that had like hundreds of thousands of likes recently that was describing what global payments really is. It's just a giant CSV file. It's like ACHs. You know why it takes 2 to 3 days for an ACH to go through? It's because it's a gigantic CSV file that sometimes gets corrupted by a bad quote and a comma.
My gosh.
Like that is how the world works. is that we build civilizations on top of the ruins of other civilizations, where like the Romans and the Greeks did it before. Like, yeah, well, we do it digitally now. Like we build.
Did we talk about the why roads are the width they are? Have we talked about this?
No, tell me.
Okay, so the reason why is because it's the width of two horses' butts, basically. And you can actually trace it all the way back, like, because the cart wheels, because the cart wheels are so wide apart, and it goes all the way back to like Roman chariots, and it's like there's the width of their roads were like 2 butts wide, and that's why our roads are 2 butts, of a horse wide.
And that's I'm sure then there's a through line to why we design, portrait and landscape mode is wide as it is like that aspect ratio. Exactly. That aspect ratio also has like a direct line
paper,
back to,
which goes back to the printing press.
That's exactly right. Like the aspect ratio is exactly that.
Yeah.
And it can't. So why do we bring up CSV files? It's because at the end of the day, the core technologies that you build on, I believe, are kind of inconsequential.
Right. I agree with this. I totally agree with this.
There's something to be said of you cannot blame the technology for failure anymore, because all technology has basically, that's the law of averages. They've sort of coalesced into similar feature sets, similar performance, similar integrations and integrators, right? They all are kind of the same. And I know, listen, I know firsthand, warts and all, the challenges with implementing on Magento and specifically Adobe Commerce, because I've been in that ecosystem. But the Abbotts and the AB InBevs of the world somehow seem to make it work. Like, why not Albertsons? And I think the question to me is, why did they retreat from web marketplace commerce? It can't be the technologies. Like, maybe it's the implemented technology. Like, it's not necessarily the platform itself. It was the implementation of the platform or the strategy behind it.
I think what you're getting at is there's 2 issues potentially. One would be the internal team didn't have the expertise or ability to execute.
Or the vision, or the resources.
Right. Vision's really important.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Yeah. Or there are out-of-house teams that they partnered with didn't have
That's
the expertise.
never happened in the history of ever.
Never, right?
Yeah. And I don't want to call out anyone who we know, because we know the people that worked on this, and I'm sure that everybody tried their best.
Right, totally. Like failed implementations happen all the time, and it's a combination of like internal, external, and whatever. But I think what we're hearing, what we're thinking, getting through here is, dang it.
I think what I'm hearing you say is, Phillip.
No, what we're getting to here is that there wasn't the right people involved. That's what it comes down to. Somewhere in that chain. The right people were not involved.
And I'll tell you, there's so many people, there's human beings required, right?
Yes.
Human beings required to make this work. And it's the people who were establishing the reason why they needed to build a web marketplace to begin with. It could be the people who decided the timing of it. Like the timing in 2018 was pretty nascent and early in grocery, and like who was doing home delivery at scale? Right. Not many, or even in-store pickup. Who the heck did in-store grocery pickup in 2018? You were a weirdo if you did that. Like, you were an agoraphobic who was like, you didn't want to be in society. Like, it could be that it was too early and that was a decision that was made. It could be like you said, the expertise of the...
This is where I think they might have struggled, and
we know nothing about this.
I know nothing about this.
100% conjecture.
This is my conjecture, actually. The thing that got shut off was their marketplace, right? Not their delivery.
Their web marketplace.
It was their web marketplace.
Right.
That is one of the hardest things to execute on as a brand. Building a marketplace where you're like having to control like your experience that you create and the experience that other people bring and the logistics. Third-party marketplaces.
Vendors,
Third-party marketplaces are one of the hardest things to run on the entire web.
It's almost impossible, especially if you're taking multiple parts of that experience and multiple parts of the operations of it, and you're putting those outside of your direct control.
Right? Yes, control. Exactly. That's exactly right.
You have to have a product innovation, like a product mindset and an innovation, rapid innovation mindset to be able to execute on that. You have to do that for yourself. And I
discipline.
And I have seen there are really only a handful of marketplace vendors in the ecosystem. Some of which one is Miracle, one is Vtex, right? Another is Unergy. These are all similarly featured. They come up in every RFP for marketplaces for big retail. When you start looking at the feature set, Miracle as a SaaS product is among probably the most limited and sort of like walled garden approach to this is how it operates, and you kind of buy into the way that it operates. I start wondering, like, is that something that can even serve grocery? Maybe. I don't know. It feels like if you need to build that, and if you were Albertsons and you needed to build that, it needs to be something that you operate and deliver from an in-house capability.
I think so. And that's probably why they abandoned it. But I also want to point out that again, I don't know if technology was the problem. I actually think that I'm
wondering if I'm undercutting my own point.
Right.
But maybe the choice of platforms. I just feel like putting all of that control outside of the Albertsons in-house. Like, this should be custom software. Could be.
Doesn't necessarily have to be. I think the technology could be custom, could be Miracle, could be something else. I actually think the problem is basically process and
and yet we know nothing about this. But yeah,
we don't. But running a marketplace in general, like looking back at Amazon, looking at Amazon and what they've struggled with, like their marketplace is huge.
They've
and it's still a huge
counting
problem.
all of the money that they have.
It's also a huge problem if we look at how Target rolled out their marketplace. On the other hand, where they it was actually curated to begin with. To me, I think that could have been
the strategy behind it was very different
behind how Target rolled theirs out.
Right, not just endless aisle and millions of products.
Right. If you just treat it like endless aisle and you just think, oh, this is how we get to endless aisle.
But I think maybe in 2018, that was a perfectly valid strategy because the motivations of a customer shopping in line who you were trying to shift to digital were very different than they are today. It's a different time.
It is a different time.
Do you think that this is the next thing.
Yeah.
It's just not who we are.
Yeah.
That is a fixed point in time because I think, can you see a company, contrast Albertsons with Kroger. As we just heard, Kroger has a digital business now after 5 years of $10 billion, and they want to double it to $20 billion in the next 3 years. Okay. How can Albertsons not rise to that challenge of their largest competitor in the marketplace?
Right.
Wouldn't they need to come back to it to innovate in that area? It's not who they are today. This is going to have to be something. Can you see them 5 years from now not operating their own web marketplace and letting Instacart and Shipt and DoorDash, run, their customer experience? Or
the answer is I actually don't know. I don't know here because I look at Albertsons and the markets they're serving versus Kroger and the markets they're serving, and I don't see them as the same markets. The experience that I have when I walk into a Kroger versus when I walk into an Albertsons is pretty different. I
don't have both in my market, so I wouldn't know. I guess next time I go to a delivery locker for a Kroger, I'll let you know how I feel.
For me, I've been
this is a trap, by the way.
I know
that we often fall prey to, which is our own perspective as consumers.
Totally, this is my own perspective as a consumer, but for me in my market, basically Kroger is sort of a step up from most of the other grocery chains.
Yeah, and we, a public shopper would say it's a step up from Winn-Dixie. Right. And there's always a different option.
And I kind of put Albertsons sort of in that Winn-Dixie market.
I don't think anyone is in the Winn-Dixie market. Okay,
yeah, that's probably true.
Winn-Dixie. Don't get me on my soapbox about Winn-Dixie. Winn-Dixie's slogan for years
Please tell me it's because of Winn-Dixie.
It was, which is a hilarious movie.
Beloved children's book.
Okay. It's a movie, I believe. It is not literature.
It is.
It is
the movie
a movie.
was based off of the book.
Winn-Dixie's slogan for years, Brian Lang, was "We're getting better all the time," which just concedes how bad they are.
Does it though?
We are getting better all the time. We are so bad that we need to promise you that we're getting better. That is Winn-Dixie.
I feel like that, but the problem is that it didn't happen. Is it getting better all the time?
I've not been in a Winn-Dixie in a decade.
Okay.
The last time I was in a Winn-Dixie, this I'll leave you with this, and then you can figure. I'll give you the last word. The last time I was in a Winn-Dixie was because it was closed, or it was because Publix was closed on Thanksgiving Day, and we had no cranberry sauce. And we go to this Winn-Dixie right across the street from the Publix.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Okay, and I'm walking into the Publix, or I'm walking into the Winn-Dixie. I can't even say Winn-Dixie. I'm walking into it, and the manager is standing at the front door saying, "Welcome, Publix shoppers." Swear to God. That is, so anyway. Grocery shop, incredible. Apparently, everything we said in our last episode about retail events being dead, retail, I think, has some challenges in or especially e-commerce in particular. E-commerce centered events, I sense a lot of apathy and fatigue, and I think they're going to have a long time coming back. Grocery is on fire, you guys. Grocery is this is exciting, and this is night one of day one of 4, and grocery shop might be the best event that I've been to in a long time.
And here's my last word.
You get the last word.
I think the last word is this. I think there's been a lot of innovation, and not just at the retail level of grocery, but also at the product CPG sort of level of grocery as well. True. Over the past 18 months, we've seen a lot of new players in this market. They're all probably here, and they're all probably trying to get into physical store.
Yep.
Then I feel like
you're talking about the coming of the DTC brands.
This is D2C comes of age.
Yes. Oh, which is a great segue. Is that your last word?
That is my last word.
Okay, DTC comes of age. Into grocery, because they all need to be omni-channel businesses. That is a key topic. In fact, it's the first section of our 9 trends in our new trends report called 9 by 9. And it's 9 brands and 9 trends, 9 things that brands are doing to differentiate themselves and win in the marketplace and win with their customers. And these 9 things are the ways that brands are rising above to stake a claim on the future. And we want you to get the 9 by 9 report. You can get it at 9by9.report when it drops a little later this month. 9by9.report. And it's going to be the best 40 pages that you'll have ever read from Future Commerce. And we know you're going to love it. So go get it. 9by9.report. That's it. Thank you so much. Yes, so much for listening to Future Commerce. And remember, we can all create the future and change the future because commerce can change the future. Thanks for listening.